The following is a podcast with Her Grace Cintamani Mataji, who has been serving at Care for Cows Vrindavan Goshala for many years. Being inspired by Kurma Rupa Prabhu, she took up this important service despite the discomfort it brings. Her journey into Krishna consciousness seemed to be destined right from her childhood, and her journey following Krishna consciousness is nothing short of remarkable. We hope you enjoy this conversation and gain some inspiration from it. If you like our content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you so much for having us here. So we're very grateful that you agreed to do this with us.
You're very welcome. It's our pleasure to have you here.
So Mataji, I have come here 3 times before. If you can just explain what Care for Cows project is about.
Care for Cows Vrindavan was founded by a Mexican-American Prabhupada disciple called Kumarupa. And Kumarupa Prabhu, about 25 years ago, he started small just by feeding some stray cows. And from that, he got a little piece of land where he started to take care of, I think about 10, 15 stray cows. And from that on, now 25 years later, we are a Goshala with about 300 cows. And we focus on rescuing sick and injured stray cows. And when I say cows, it's actually mostly oxen. Because when people have a calf and it's a girl, they will keep her because she will give milk.
Right.
But a bull only costs money.
Right.
So usually when a little bull is born, and as soon as the little bull's mom stops giving milk, they will kick the... That's the nice part of doing an interview in a Goshala, always spontaneous. But they will kick the little bull out on the streets. And
Right.
then when they end up being sick or injured, then we rescue them. We take them in and then we take care of them for the rest of their lives.
So when you say rescue, Mataji, do you mean like do the farmers just leave them like that and they're on the street with no one to take care of them?
Yeah, they're literally being kicked out on the streets.
Okay.
And then many times, I think most of our cows are victims of traffic accidents. So they
Okay.
come in with broken legs, internal injuries. We have a lot who come in with dog bites, a lot who come in sick because they ate plastic, malnourished, in very bad condition. Yeah.
So my question was, Mataji, that in Vrindavan, of course, there are so many Goshalas. Even our temple has a Goshala
Yeah.
and all this thing. Outside of Kurma Rupa Prabhu, no one saw this sort of these issues and decided to address them. Was he one of the first ones?
Yeah, I think he was one of the first ones here. By now, there's several devotees who started Goshalas focused on rescuing. But I think Kumarupa Prabhu was, definitely one of the first ones. I think also here in the area because we became one of the bigger ones, so that's why.
How did you come across Kurma Rupa Prabhu?
Well, the first time I came to Vrindavan was almost 25 years ago, and then we had heard of Kumarupa Prabhu, so we decided to visit the Goshala, which at that time was still quite small.
Was it in the same place? Or
No, it was we came to this location about late 2010, early 2011 we moved here. But then it was more towards Vrindavan town, towards the Parikram road in Madhavan colony. So I went there and we saw the cows. This is our Vishnu, by the way. He's very affectionate.
Very affectionate.
He likes to get attention, as you can see. So then, that's when I met Kumarupa Prabhu. And at that time, I was living in Radhadash community in Belgium. So for a long time, I just traveled up and down to Vrindavan. And then Kumarupa Prabhu left his body in 2015. He left his body here in the Goshala on this property.
Okay.
And then right after that, I walked in and I felt so much at home that I kept coming back. And then a few years ago, I decided to change my life. I had the opportunity to retire early, and from then on, I'm trying to dedicate my life to the cows.
So 2015 onwards, Mataji.
Yeah, late 2015. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I started actively serving instead of just coming and
So you
supporting.
moved here completely from Radhadesh after that?
Yeah, I'm here most of the year.
So taking it back just a little, Mataji, how did you come across Radhadesh in Belgium?
Well, I was born in the south of Holland, so Radhadesh was the temple closest to where I live. That's how I ended up in Radhadesh.
But you were born in a devotee family, Mataji?
No, I was not born in a devotee family. I think my journey started actually when I was quite young. Now, when I look back at it, I think it must be something that, something from my past life. When I look back at it, I grew up in a non-devotee family, but my parents always told me that, for instance, I never wanted to eat meat. I didn't want to eat fish. I didn't want to eat eggs.
Naturally?
I really hated garlic and onion. I've never used drugs, never smoked, I've never been drunk. So when I look back at it, I think it's something
Naturally.
from past life that stuck. And the first memory I have from some kind of attraction to Krishna was when I was 11 years old. And, I saw a picture of Krishna and some explanation actually about Hinduism in a book at school. And I remember being so captivated by it that I just, during classes, I sometimes would get a little bored, and then I would always in the book I would go to this page and stare at this picture of the Krishna deity. And when I was 13, 14, I told all my friends that I wanted to be a Hare Krishna devotee.
So you knew about Hare Krishna?
No, I had no clue what it was.
Okay.
But I knew that that was what I wanted to be. And then when I was 15, 16, I met a Sankirtan devotee, I got some books, and yeah, that's where it started.
In Holland?
In Holland, yes. Then when I was 18, I finished secondary school, I moved to London, and then I started going to Soho Street Temple.
Okay. Radha London Ishwara.
Radha London Ishwara, yes. That was my first temple.
So your parents were okay with all this, Mataji?
No. For them it was a big shock.
Okay.
Now when I look back at it so many years ago, I understand. I mean, they had of course, completely different expectations. They expected, I have two brothers, all three of their children to just grow up, study,
Right. They usually
get a job, start a family, and then I decided to do something completely different. I mean, now I started going to the temple in 96, 95, 96. So now it's so many years later, and they cannot really relate to it, but they accepted it. They see that I'm happy, and I think that made a big difference. They saw that I'm happy and I'm content, and then
Do they visit you here sometimes?
no, they've never been. They've never been to Vrindavan. No. But when I was in Radhadesh, they lived like a little bit over an hour away. They would,
Okay, they used to visit.
I would visit them. They would visit me. And
It's a very good farm community.
yeah, it's a nice community. It's a beautiful castle in kind of middle of nowhere with forest around. And
How many devotees are there?
in Radhadesh, when I was living there 20 something years ago, there were about 8,200, but now there's more.
So, Mataji, when you joined the Radha London Ishwar temple and you were visiting there regularly, any specific guru that attracted you, or were you looking for sort of initiation, or were you looking for any guidance within this concept?
Yeah, actually what happened at that I was very new. I had
Right.
no clue about Guru, and but what happened when I was visiting Soho Street for a few weeks is that one day I went there after I was studying English at that time. So after school I would go there, and then when Mataji, who I became friends with, she said, you have to come tomorrow morning because a very special devotee will come and he will give the Bhagavatam lecture. So I went and I skipped school. I went in the morning, and then His Holiness Radhana Maharaj was there, and he gave the lecture. And yeah, he really touched my heart. but he was the first guru I saw, so I didn't know what to expect or if this was like the way he touched my heart that was normal or not. And then that's when I met Radhana Maharaj, and later on I took initiation from him.
Okay. So you're also initiated by Radha from that is amazing. So after Soho Street Mataji, then how did you end up meeting Guru Prabhu for here?
When I left London, I went back to Holland and I studied. I got a bachelor degree in social work. And the day after I graduated, I packed my bags and I moved to Radhadesh.
Graduated your college?
Yeah,
my university.
Yeah, my degree. Yeah. So the day after I moved to Radhadesh, I stayed there for a few years. Apologies. I did different sevas in Radhadesh. At some point I moved outside. I was a police officer for quite some years.
In Belgium?
In Holland. Yeah, I moved back to Holland. And then, as I said, I had the chance to retire early. Ever since I've been here.
Running the Goshala.
It's teamwork. Yes. We have 300 cows. It's
not easy, it's not.
No, but I think we have a team of about 15.
Okay. You took early retirement, Mataji, from being a police officer to come here. But when you were in Radhadesh, when you were serving, or even when you were working, was there any in your mind like I want to be around cows or I want to be around animals? Or you want to live like a farm community type lifestyle?
I mean, at some point I did have the desire to again move to a temple community and live a bit more peaceful life instead of... When I was a police officer, I worked in one of the most busiest cities in Holland, in one of the city center police stations. So it was very hectic, very busy, a lot of intense...
Was it Amsterdam or...?
No, it was The Hague.
Okay. Still one of the major
cities. It's one of the... So the desire came to, again, take a step back from, how to say this, material life or having a regular job and go back to trying to become a full-time devotee again. So that desire was there. Did I ever expect ending up in a care for cows, Vrindavan Goshala? No, never. But then in 2015, I arrived in Vrindavan. I attended the Samadhi ceremony and Gopastami festival. The Samadhi ceremony of Kumarupa Prabhu, Gopastami festival, and I walked in and I completely fell in love with the place. I was so captivated by the cows, and then the desire started to come here more and more often. And then I found myself, whenever I went back to Holland, I found myself really missing Vrindavan, missing the cows, and I prayed to Krishna to be allowed to serve here and take more responsibility. And then slowly, suddenly here I am.
So how did you learn so much on this? Because police officers is that, and then taking care of cows, and you're taking care of all aspects from their health, medicine, any like sort of fractures or any diseases they have. You also have calves here, newborn cows. So how did you learn so much about them? From being a police officer to being like this?
Well, actually, I mean, I started actively serving here in 2015, but I'm one of the newest team members. So I learned a lot from the other staff members. We have quite some of them who have been serving here from day one. They've been, since Kumarupa Prabhu started the Goshala, they've been serving here. So I just learned by looking at them, seeing what they are doing. And I think it just comes naturally when you're here every day, you spend all day with the cows.
So you just completely jumped into it?
I jumped in. I dove in head first.
That's amazing. Mataji, I wanted to ask you if you can elaborate a little more on Kumarupa Prabhu and what his vision was and how he basically manifested this whole project from scratch to now, this amazing project that it is.
I mean, Kumarupa Prabhu, he became a devotee in America. And there's one, if you Google or if you go on YouTube and you look for Kumarupa Prabhu's videos, there's usually one that pops out, and it's called My Part of the Bargain.
Okay.
And he explains how at some point he was young and drafted for the Vietnam War, and he really didn't want to go. So then he kind of made a deal with God. Like he prayed, like, please God, if you make sure that I don't have to go, then I will dedicate my life to you. So that's what happened, and that's why the video is called My Part of the Bargain, because God protected him from the Vietnam War, and then he felt like I have to now keep my side of the promise, my side of the deal. And then shortly after, he met devotees, and he met Prabhupada. He got initiated. Then after some time, he ended up in Vrindavan. He was involved in, he was serving at the Gurukul. And then at some point, he decided to stop the Gurukul Seva. And the way he became involved with cow seva is, as I said, he was feeding some of the street cows. And at some point, he made a Kartik vow.
Kartik vow.
Yeah. His vow was that every day in Kartik, I will get some grass and I will feed the cows that are near my house. And the thing with, they all like attention, and sometimes they act like spoiled toddlers when they don't get any, then they start acting up.
Throw a tantrum.
Yeah. So he started the Kartik vow by every day buying some grass. But the funny thing is with cows is that they're very intelligent.
Yeah.
So if you feed cows at a certain place at a certain time,
They will show up.
they understand this. And not only will they show up, but they have some kind of gossip system. So they will bring all their friends. So it started with 5-10 cows, and next day there will be 20, and within a week there will be a whole bunch of them. So in this way, he went through during whole Kartik, and then the last day of Kartik, he must have been like, okay, thank you very much. This was my vow. Thank you for the mercy. Thank you for the seva. But of course, cows, they don't know anything about days of the week or month or when Kartik starts or ends. So the next day, first day after Kartik, he must have opened this door, and all these cows must have been standing there like, hey, where's our grass? So then he understood, like, when we do seva, it's not about us. It's also about, serving others. And so then he started to take responsibility for the cows. And that's how Care for Cows started. With
This was in which year, Mataji, when he first did it, the Kartik?
1999. Yeah. Before that, he would just feed. Like cows would do madhukari in Vrindavan.
Yeah.
They would go from door to door. People would make some extra chapatis, feed them the peels, and that's how he started. But the Goshala sevas took off after the Kartik vow.
That's amazing. Mataji, I wanted to ask you, since you've been involved in so much Go Seva for so many years, and you have been to GEV as well. So we were talking before we started recording about GEV. Nowadays, they are not like sort of milking the cows, and they are not using the bulls for like farming activities as well. Now on the other extreme, which you were sharing before, that after the youth of the bull, they just sort of discard them and don't utilize them, which is also wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel that when they're capable and all, they like to be sort of do that seva of plowing the field or pulling a cart or whatever that it may be. So, and also similar
general,
with the cows as well. Like many of the donors ask that only the calf should get the milk, and you should not utilize it for your own consumption. So I wanted to understand from you whether you had any thoughts on this.
One of Kumarupa's wishes was actually that he wanted every cow to experience motherhood once in her life. And we can also see here that when a cow is pregnant, the mood completely changes. And when you see the dedication to her calf and the love between a calf and his or her mom, it's just something so amazing. But there's an ideal world, and there's, sometimes reality you have to deal with. Right now in this Goshala, every Goshala has limited space, so you have to make choices. For instance, we have 5 bulls. We allow each of them to make 1 cow a year pregnant, also so they can. Hey. So they can follow their dharma, because the dharma of the bull is also to make a cow pregnant and create progeny in this way. But in reality, like Kumarupa had the wish to make every cow pregnant. For us it's not practical anymore, because it would mean we cannot focus on rescuing 3 cows anymore, because our Goshala would be filled up by our own calves. So in that sense, you have to see. In an ideal world, all these cows would be outside in a meadow grazing, and
many people would adopt like small number of cows and keep them.
You also have to look at Vrindavan's history. I think back in the days, it wasn't actually such a problem when people would let their female cows out during the day, and then they would come back at night. And even when they would throw out their bulls, because there were so many fields, hardly any traffic, hardly any buildings. So at that time, it wasn't actually, even up until 20 years ago, it wasn't actually that big of a problem to throw a bull out. Because there were no dangers for the bull. There was plenty of food. As I said, no traffic, no. So you have to look at, a little bit at that part also. As far as the milk goes, I myself was vegan for a few years, also thinking in that way that milk is for the calf, etc., etc. But I started to learn here that in most cases, a cow gives much more milk than a calf needs. So what happens then is either the calf drinks too much, which could lead to having the calf becoming sick, getting loose motion, or the calf not drinking all the milk, and then the cow could end up with a huge udder infection. So it is important to get the milk out. Then also, if we look at our scriptures, of course, it says there that milk is also important for our spiritual, for our nourishment, our spiritual advancement.
Being vegan, Mataji, I can totally understand, because if you don't have access to a Goshala or something and you're getting the packaged milk and all, I can definitely understand people who sort of boycott that and don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I think there is a right way to do it, and people are sort of ignoring that way, which you were saying that,
I think the problem is like the massive, it became an industry.
Right.
It's not about the welfare of a cow or a calf,
or every household having their own cow and having access to that milk.
It became an industry, it became a business, and when it starts to be about money, that's when cows are being mistreated, and we're not. There's 2 sides. In an ideal world, everybody would be able to drink ahimsa milk.
Yes. So Mataji, in terms of care for cows, now you have 300 cows, so many volunteers, and you get a lot of visitors as well. I've seen on social media, and a lot of support is there. So for the next, say, 15-20 years, what is the vision? Is it to keep growing and?
At the moment you have 300 cows, which is for over the next longer period of time is our maximum. Because we do want to provide the cows that are in the Goshala a good life.
Right.
We don't want to overcrowd the Goshala. We want to be able to keep it clean. We want to give them their space, also to run around, and we want to make them happy as well. So we don't want to completely fill it up. At the same time, we see that in Vrindavan, that less and less cows. There are less and less street cows on the streets. So we can also see how that impacts us. Like we are getting less cows.
Okay,
inside.
so no one is abandoning as much as they like. People are not abandoning or them on the
No,
streets.
people are
like
still
before.
abandoning, but nowadays there's government goshalas and
Right. Okay.
etc. etc. So one of the things that Kumarupa Prabhu also had in mind was focus on protecting pure Indian breeds. So I think if we ever really see a decrease in the number of street cows that we are getting, we would like to focus a little bit more about protecting Indian breeds.
Yeah. Indian breeds as in like
As in the pure breeds.
like the Gir and
Gir, there's so many breeds.
Tharparkar and all
Tharparkar,
these.
yeah.
Okay. Nice, that's nice. Is there like a I only ask because I feel like what your Prabhuji started and inspired all of us to do, I feel it should be implemented in multiple sort of places. Is there like a blueprint or like some sort of a document or a educational way where people can get inspired from this and this is just Vrindavan. We have Mayapur, we have Jagannath Puri and so many spiritual places where something like this is massively required.
I mean, end of the day, you just
Of course, I know people have to be inspired enough to
Yeah.
do it, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, we get quite a lot of devotees here who express a desire to start a goshala. But I'd say, it's one thing to start a goshala, but to maintain it and keep it running year after year after year. Average lifespan of a cow is about 20 years, so it's a big responsibility. So whenever a devotee comes here and expresses his desire, they would like to, start a similar project, we always tell them, like, please choose a goshala and start serving there for 6 months, a year, so you can see what it is like to actually run a goshala. But yeah, I can actually document blueprints.
Not like document in the sense like just to educate people sort of what it takes. I think like you were saying, that was my concern as well, that many people get inspired but they don't know actually the details behind the details behind, and it's not so easy. So it fizzles out within like 6 months or a year or so, and again we are back in the same.
It does happen that we get phone calls from people saying like, oh, I started a goshala a few years ago and I have 20 cows and now I cannot maintain the goshala anymore, I cannot take care anymore. Could you please take our 20, 30 cows? It does happen occasionally. So in that sense, what I'm saying is, don't underestimate the responsibility. Because when I started serving here, I didn't have a clue. I was just used to coming here and spending some time brushing the cows, hanging out with them, and then go home.
The good things.
The good things. But then by now, I also know that it comes with a lot of responsibility. It comes with a lot of worries and anxieties and stress and sleepless nights. But
no, it's something that you really enjoy to do, so you are very passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to dedicate my life to this. Like many times, stress becomes so high. So many times I felt like, oh, I cannot do this anymore, I want to run away. But then the next day I walk in the goshala and, all these cows are looking at me and I'm like, oh no, let me try to serve them.
They're like your own children in a way, like you want to...
And also I think as devotees we have the opportunity to advance when we take on seva that, I have to say this, hurts a little bit.
It's
not
too easy, outside your comfort zone, sort of.
Outside the comfort zone. It comes with some challenges and where you're forced to surrender. And
that's amazing.
And then also what I didn't realize when I started serving here is that it comes with a lot of heartbreak. Because we do get a lot of cows that we rescue that don't survive. Like last year we rescued, I think, 12 calves. And out of those 12 calves, only 2 survived. And we see that because Vrindavan nowadays is also changing. There's so much traffic.
Modernizing to some extent.
Yeah. And a few years ago, whenever we would get a calf that was hit by, a bicycle rickshaw, So they would come in with like just a broken leg. Well, nowadays they get hit by trucks, tractors, motorized vehicles, and they come in with 3 broken legs and open fractures and internal injuries and neurological damage. And so
Like
that's
something you can't recover from most of the cases anyway, because it's too late by the time.
yeah, they come here and all we can do is like support them and give them a
Pain
lot of
relief,
love.
maybe.
Yeah, like support them in the last stage of their life, and then be grateful that we have the opportunity to serve them, and yeah, like I said, support them, help them, and try to ease their transition to in leaving their body, which is
Yeah, which is a very
I mean,
important
it's
duty. Yeah.
nice seva, and well, at one hand we're grateful for it, but on the other hand, it's very difficult to see, especially when it's little young pups, to see them suffer and see their pain, and yeah, sometimes that's difficult to deal with.
Oh, it's very painful. We were there together when Yamuna passed away in GV. It's your eyes melt immediately seeing that sort of pain.
At the same time, we are here in Vrindavan, and I mean, these are Vrindavan cows. So, I mean, Krishna takes care of them. Whatever may happen, you know, physically with their external body, it's
Definitely. Is there a system in place, Mataji, like you were saying, a truck hits and then you get a call for rescue, and also is there any like local system that you have derived? You have given a number, like a Goshala number to all the like nearby places, and if they see any cow, they can call you that needs help.
yeah. Most cows come here because we get calls from other devotees or
Okay, devotees.
yeah, locals.
Right. So that grassroots sort of you have
Yeah,
raised
I mean,
the awareness.
everybody here knows us.
Okay.
So when they see an injured cow, they either call us, or there's some other little Goshalas that do the same, or some organizations that work with cows or animals on the streets. So then we work together with them, and they call us. And there are some organizations that also have like they run cow ambulance services.
Yeah.
Because when they're little, then we can put them in a rickshaw.
Right.
But when it's an adult cow, then yeah, you will need a truck with some
need to
hydraulic
lift them
system, and
yeah.
yeah.
Have you been to the Ramesh Baba one, Mataji?
No, I've
In
never
Barsana?
been there. No, I've never been there.
Because that's quite an interesting project
Yeah.
also. They have a whole hospital
Yeah.
dedicated
Yeah,
cows. as
to
well.
cows, yeah.
So, how many like veterinarians and all we have here?
We have 1 or 2 local vets that we usually call. And then our senior staff member, he knows so much about cows, like just from practical experience and from looking at, like he's one of our staff members that has been with us since day one. And he was always very interested in what the vets were doing, so he learned everything in a practical way.
Right.
And we find that when vets don't know what to do, they call him and ask, what would you do? So yeah, in that sense, we're very blessed with unbelievably loyal Gwalas that they dedicate their life to. All attention usually is on like myself and other devotees, like on the front side. But it's actually our Gwalas, the ones, yeah.
They're
that
local
do the-
ones?
Yeah, we hire local Gwalas. They're the ones that do the hard work and actually that keep the Goshala going. We don't know what to do without them. We couldn't do without them.
Lastly, Mataji, if, for everyone who's watching, if they can support Care for Cows in any way, you can just say through donations, through any other seva, whatever we can do to support this amazing project.
Yeah, we do run the Goshala solely runs on donations. We have social media, we have a website, and it's called Care for Cows Vrindavan. And it's important that you add the Vrindavan, otherwise you end up in different
Right.
places. So it's Care for Cows Vrindavan. If you go to our Facebook, Instagram, our website, then you can find all the details there. And it also shows what we do, especially Instagram, Facebook. We upload posts there every day. You can see what we do and meet the cows that are here that we're trying to serve.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thanks, Hari. Very well.